Let me quickly talk about the difference between a constant and a variable. So in programming languages, there are two ways you could store information or values. One is through a constant and a variable. So what we're looking here is a couple of examples. In Swift, you could create a constant using the let keyword and then var for the var keyword. So we have the name constant and also the age variable here. So let's talk about first about the constant. And name is set with a string Sam. So imagine you have a name and it's a constant. It means a constant doesn't change, right? Well, it's possible that you can change it, but let's just imagine that you cannot change your name. So when you're writing a program, you will be storing a value and you're sure that this value wouldn't change throughout the lifetime of the application. So you would use a constant. And in creating a constant, you would be using the let keyword. So if I'm going to set name with a different value, I would be getting an error. So I type name and then set it with probably John. And then eventually the Xcode would tell me, oh, there's an error. You cannot do this because you are declaring a constant. So if you are using, or if you're declaring value as something that could be changed throughout the lifetime of the application, then you would be using a var or a variable. So if your age currently is 25, and then at some point in the future you would want to change the age value, then I'm going to set it with a different value. For instance, 30. So 30 is okay, right? I mean, it's okay to set a new value to the age variable because it is a variable. If you're the designer or the programmer that is writing the program, then you should know which one you would use. Am I going to use a constant or am I going to use a variable? So ahead of time, you should already know this. But then it's okay at a later time you realize this declaration doesn't change its value, then you can just change it to a constant. Using constant and variables also have differences in terms of performance. So telling the program or the operating system that I am using a constant, it means you're telling it to allocate a special or a space for it that would not change. For variables, when you declare a variable, then you're telling the OS that, okay, at some point it may change or eventually it will change. So it also means that the value will change and the space that it requires to be allocated will also change in the future. So it has something to do with space optimization and for performance optimization when it comes to choosing between the constant and variable. I hope I made it clear with the difference between a constant and a variable in Swift.